listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to the X-Zone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Radio X throughout Europe, and the Digital Broadcast Network. If you'd like to give us a call, 800-610-7035, email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our radio website where you can listen to the show Monday through Friday from 8 until midnight, as well as the best of the X-Zone, www.xzoneradiotv.com, and our new podcast site, xzonepodcast.com. Well, now, my guest this hour is a lady I've had the pleasure of knowing for a number of years now. Georgina Cannon is her name. And Dr. Cannon is an author, speaker, and founder of Canada's largest hypnosis school and clinic. Dr. Cannon is a doctor of metaphysical counseling, NLP master, timeline practitioner, past life and interlife regression therapist, and accredited instructor for the National Guild of Hypnotists, the Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association, and the International Board of Regression Therapies. She is also an instructor of hypnosis at the University of Toronto School of Social Work, and for the past 20 years she has been running classes teaching how to facilitate past lives and interlife regression protocols. Her books, Return Again, published in the U.S., reached number 2 on Amazon Canada 1 month after launch. Return, Past Life Regression in You, and Discovering the Interlife, Your Journey Between Lifetimes were self-published and became sellers in Canada. It was her first book return that introduced Dr. Cannon to Shirley MacLaine, who read the book and invited Dr. Cannon to host the chat room on the ShirleyMacLaine.com website from time to time. And, of course, I'm sorry, Craig, I can't hear that. Okay, Dr. Cannon also hosts Shirley's radio show a few times a year. Website, www.georginacannon.com. And Dr. Georgina Cannon, welcome back to the X Zone.
Well, thank you. Has it really been 25 years? Are you that old?
25 years doing this show.
I know, it's amazing. You were way ahead of your time. I mean, you were doing this way before anybody was even knowing what metaphysical meant.
Yeah, but it's because of guests like you and the other great guests that we have on the show that I believe we've opened a door to a better understanding of what lies in the world of what if.
What if?
Yeah.
Yeah, and where if.
That's right. So tell me, what is new in the world of hypnotism and the great work that you do throughout the city of Toronto and around the world?
What is new? I've just finished a book on relationships that my agent has right now. She's shopping it around, called The Third Circle. This is a protocol I've been working on in the clinic for the past 8 or 10 years about relationships.
Interesting.
So that'll come out hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm. And are you still doing your classes and your courses?
Absolutely. I've just finished a class on past life regression and getting beyond stuck, another class, and I'm about to teach one on hypnosis this coming weekend, and then the university has just signed me on for next year or later this year. They run from September through to the following year for hypnosis courses at the School of Social Work. So yes, I'm going to be busy passing on the torch, teaching everybody how to do this wonderful protocol, which is great.
Dr. Georgina Cannon is my guest this hour, X Zone Nation, www.georginacannon.com. And Georgina and I will be back on the other side of the short break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, if you'd like to visit our website, xzoneradiotv.com, that is where you can listen to the X Zone 724 365, as well as our show Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight. The X Zone is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or visit us on any of the many social media sites out there at xzoneradiotv.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break with Dr. Georgina Cannon. Don't go away. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Wilda Wiecka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we will weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Wilda Wiecka, and the Science of Magic right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Linnea Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across the newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea Starr does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information and prophecies indeed come true, the gift indeed comes from the divine realm. Linnea Starr does large interactive groups as well as private gatherings. For more information on Linnea Starr or to contact Linnea for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.linneastar.com. That's www.linneastar.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Dr. Georgina Cannon is our special guest, www.georginacannon.com. I wanted to ask you about the courses that you give at the University of Toronto. Hypnosis for social work?
Yes, the School of Social Work at the University of Toronto started offering these courses about 4 years ago now. And we started with one weekend, and then it went to 3, and now we're doing 6 different modules. I'm also including some spiritual hypnosis in there as well, which everyone was very surprised they accepted, but they did, and it's going down very well. People seem to like it because it makes sense. When you're working with people in trouble, it makes sense to help them access their subconscious mind, for sure.
So what is spiritual hypnosis? You and I have talked many times about every kind of hypnosis, but spiritual hypnosis?
Well, spiritual hypnosis helps the person understand that they are more than they seem. They're more than just their physical body or their troubled mind, their worry, their concerns, their fears. They are bigger than that. They have a soul, a heart and a soul, and they have an ability to connect to a higher self, that part of them that is bigger than they are. Excuse me. I encourage the social workers to work with their groups and one-on-one with their clients to show them that they are so much more than they seem, that we have, as well as we inherit the DNA from our family, our ancestors, we also inherit their spirit. So, people talk about, I look like my grandfather,
right.
But what about his energy? What about his focus? What about all the what got him through life during difficult times. So we have to take that into consideration as well. And forget about that.
Does hypnosis confirm or work with DNA analysis?
Yes. Well, I don't know about analysis, but I certainly have been doing for a while DNA regression as well as soul regression. So I do past life regression, which is the soul regression. And we also do, in my clinic anyway, we do the DNA regression, going back through the DNA to the source of, for instance, source of anger or deep despair that seem to have been passed down from generation to generation.
So what is the basic difference between past life regression and DNA regression?
Well, past life, the soul comes into different bodies and different families in different countries, different colors, different times. The DNA is linear. The DNA comes through the mother or the father and the grandparents on both sides. So, and we do know it has an impact. And Aboriginal groups certainly honor their ancestors, and they honor what they inherit from their ancestors. And we know that if a certain generation has gone through trauma, the second and third generation still feels that trauma at a deep, deep level. We know that. We have research that proves that, whether it be the Holocaust, children of Holocaust survivors, or the children of slaves. We know that makes a difference.
Is hypnosis becoming more and more popular with the members of society, Georgina?
I don't know the word is popular, but I would say that it's becoming more known, more aware. I get a lot of referrals from the medical profession and psychiatrists and psychologists. And they now see it as not so woo-woo, but just another tool to help people become the best they can be. Because that's really what it is. I mean, stage hypnosis aside, that's really what it's about. It's about helping the person become the best they can be.
Is there any one ethnic group that is more susceptible to hypnotism than another?
Not really. I think that if people have been through trauma, they are very susceptible to hypnosis because they're in a form of trance already. The trauma put them in a form of trance, because trance isn't always pleasurable, right? Sometimes trance is, like for instance, post-traumatic stress disorder is a form of trance. And the wonderful psychotherapist Adam Crabtree wrote a book called Trance Zone, which he says that we're all in trance and it's our job to change one trance for another with our clients. So because we do everything automatically, or most things automatically, every day, that's a form of trance. So if some of those things we do are not healthy for us, then we can change them.
What is the history of hypnotism in North America?
Oh, it goes back. In North America, I would say Mesmer, all of the Freud, Mesmer, Carl Jung, going back all the way through to Edward Casey. But it went back to ancient Egyptian times, sleep. They used to have sleep, what do they call them? I forget what they were, but, sleep places where they'd go, like a spa.
Right.
They'd go and meditate and get off the world for a bit and have massages. And I'm assuming gorgeous young women prancing around. But they were, it goes back way, way back. And if you look at Aboriginal traditions, they go into trance a lot, whether it be shamanism or whether it be celebration and dancing. They go into trance with music. People take journeys in different ways, but they go into trance.
Is there a connection between hypnosis and meditation?
Yes, it's exactly the same.
Really?
Yes, exactly the same. Same brain waves.
So
the only difference is that one is for internal purposes to help you become peaceful and centered. And the other one is really to reach a goal. So you're accessing the subconscious mind to make change.
So
but it's the alpha brainwaves. It's exactly the same.
So would you say that meditation is a form of self-hypnosis and self-hypnosis is a form of meditation?
Yes, yes. It's just different purpose. So if people go into meditation, and they come and see me and they say, it's gonna be easy for me to go into hypnosis.
Right.
So I go into meditation, and I say, well, sometimes, because you're so used to doing it yourself, if we're not very careful, you'll go off into la la land, into that sort of spiritual space that you go into, and you won't follow what we need to do to help you make the changes you need. So you need to focus and manage yourself so that you stay with me and not go off on your own journey.
Exonation, Dr. Georgina Cannon is our special guest this hour. Dr. Cannon is based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and her website is georginacannon.com. That's GeorginaCannon.com. Dr. Cannon, why would someone come to you to have past life regression done?
They may come out of curiosity. They may have traveled somewhere that they've never been to before knowingly, like could be Scotland or Greece.
Right.
And they feel so familiar with being there. They may even know their way around some streets, never having been there before. And they want to know, they come to me and they say, is it possible that I've lived there before? Or they come for a fear that has no bearing on their life today. So they might come for a fear of, say, spiders or a fear of dogs. And there's absolutely no reason why they would have that. So they wonder if it's a past life regression. Or they come for curiosity. Or we find out when we're working with them around an anger issue or a sadness issue, when we regress them back to cause, that comes from a past life. So when they come for the past life, it's usually out of curiosity.
Has there ever been a time, Georgina, where someone has come to your clinic that they've sat down in front of you, they've wanted to have a past life regression done, and something in you says, not going to do it?
Right. I'm fortunate in a way, although I wouldn't tell this voice that I hear that I'm fortunate, that I get messages through my right ear. I'm audio sentient. And sometimes I'll hear a voice saying, this one's about today, not about yesterday. So when people come in and they have an issue, like how come I can't meet my soulmate, or how come I can't have friends, or how come I'm so lonely, I think it's a past life. I say, well, maybe not necessarily so, because I'm getting these messages in my right ear. So I say, well, is it okay with you if we look at the issue rather than go straight into past life? I don't want you to waste your time or your money, and let's look in a place that it may not reside. So usually I get an acquiescence that we go ahead. And so that happens a fair amount, that people come in and blaming karma or blaming a past life, when in fact it's something to do with this life.
Your ability to use to access clairsentient, did this come to you after you started working with hypnosis or before? Before.
I've always had it. Like I've always seen auras, but I never talked about it. In fact, when I was in England, I took it for granted. I thought everybody had the same thing, until you find out that they don't.
Right.
But I've always had it. And now, of course, in the profession I'm in, I can use it.
Sure.
When I was in the corporate world, it wasn't very convenient, because when you walk into a boardroom of directors of companies and you hear this voice saying, they are lying, what are you going to do? You can't say anything. So you just pretend that you just accept what they say and just know instinctively that they are lying, and you have to deal with it. And hopefully it'll come out later. Or the same thing in any sort of business. But in the current business I'm in,
right,
it's brilliant. It works. It really helps.
It's a great tool to have.
It's a great tool to have.
Georgina, you and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Great talking to you again. Exonation, our guest is Dr. Georgina Cannon, www.georginacannon.com. And Georgina and I will be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. You can always send an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And you can listen to the X Zone Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. until midnight. Or listen to the best of the rest of the 24-hour clock at xzoneradiotv.com. My name's Rob McConnell. Dr. Cannon and I return on the other side of this news break. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Thomas Jefferson was a Burgess of 27 when he met Martha Wales Skelton, a 22-year-old widowed heiress who was fondly called Patty by her family. They were married on January the 1st, 1772, and they took up residence in a cabin on the building site on top of a Virginia mountain that Thomas had named Monticello. As Thomas and Patty slowly built their first version of the great house at Monticello, the Revolutionary War was heating up. Patty, with difficulty, bore 5 children, but only 2 girls survived. Thomas's political career developed to the point where he was often away from home, but after he authored and signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, he resolved never again to leave his wife. He was elected the governor of Virginia, just as that state became the Revolution's last battleground. The Revolutionary War ended in 1781, and Thomas gladly retired altogether to my family, my farm, and my books. But Patty continued to want to bear her treasured husband a son, and late in the summer of 1782, she died of kidney failure at the age of 33, 4 months after having borne yet another girl. Thomas was so devastated by her death that he never remarried. He mourned her for the rest of his life, even as he helped to frame the peace in France and then became the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and the third President of the United States. This story is true. Thomas Jefferson was such an obsessive letter writer and record keeper that we know where he was and what he was doing nearly every day of his adult life. Every significant thing he says in My Thomas comes from his contemporary writings. My Thomas by Roberta Grimes is now available at Barnes & Noble, Costco, Target, Books A Million, Hudson Booksellers, Kmart, Walmart, Sam's Club, Walgreens, CVS, and online at Amazon.com. You can visit Roberta Grimes online at www.robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerrean intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Annie Callahan, dedicated to negotiating a position for Earth within the Daguerrean Coalition, had trained for 3 years to become an Earth ambassador. Yet, the very eve of her arrival at the capital ruling planet, she is claimed as destined mate to an oversized, mating-maddened vamp who swears he will never release her. Lord Aztaran, king of the Macian sector, has waited over 900 years for his destined mate. Having found her as an alpha vamp, he is unable to relinquish Annie, virtually holding her hostage until he can claim her. Yet Macians cannot survive without their mate's love. How could he strip her of her citizenship, her ambassadorship, and her freedom and expect to win her heart? With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is the latest book in this exciting series, The Daguerrean Chronicles, guaranteed to keep readers coming back for more. With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is available on Amazon.com and KahiraO'Donnell.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Dr. Georgina Cannon is our guest of this hour. Exonation, www.georginacannon.com. When somebody comes to you, Georgina, with a problem that requires past life hypnosis based on your expertise in doing this for a number of years. How long does it take from the time the patient walks into your office until the time he or she walks out of your office, having had the session done and having you solve the problem?
It's a 2-hour session. Regular hypnosis sessions are usually 90 minutes or an hour, but past life is 2 hours and interlife is 3 hours because it takes longer to process. It's a slower process.
Now, what is interlife?
Interlife is the space between lifetimes. Interlife is when we are no longer in the body, that we are totally spirit or soul, and we go home. We go to the space in between lifetimes when we return back as pure soul and connect with our soul circle or our guides for sure, and the council where we can obtain wisdom, ask some questions and get some understanding. And we also understand what our soul purpose is in this current lifetime. We find out the name of our soul name, and the soul name of our guides. We also find out, which I found fascinating, what our soul thumbprint is. What attributes do we take from lifetime to lifetime? So it's awe-inspiring, that particular journey of the interlife.
So when you do the interlife regression or hypnosis session,
Mm-hmm.
the place where we go prior to coming back to a life,
Mm-hmm.
what would you describe that as?
It's peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It is a place of the soul healing. It's I call it the blue mist for the want of some way of explaining it, but it's a place where the soul can rest and the soul can heal and take time out to rejuvenate, regenerate, get ready for the next life.
So how long is our stay usually in the blue mist?
It depends, excuse me, it depends totally on how long the soul needs until it comes into another lifetime to learn the next lesson, to have the next experience.
Now, with all the people that you've done the interlife
Mm-hmm.
hypnosis session, do they describe the blue mist the same way?
It's extraordinary because they go through, I would say 90% of people go through exactly the same processes. They leave the body, they go through a threshold of some sort, they meet up with their guide or guides, and then visit with their soul circle, the pod, if you like,
Right.
of people that they travel with from lifetime to lifetime. And from there, they go to the laboratory where they learn to manage their energy, or the library where they go to experience and see and find out more about their other lifetimes, both past and future. And they can then go to the council, the wise elders, and then they go to the place where they choose the life and the body that they are in currently. And they found out why they do that. And it's quite extraordinary how people may have never read anything, but they all do the same journey. Some do it all, some do just 1 or 2 stops along the way. But everybody goes to the council.
So really, we make all the choices pertaining to the life that we're going to start, and then there's a report card kind of system at the end when we go back?
You could put it that way. Yeah, although there's no finger wagging going on. It's all about learning. It's all about growth and evolution, and all about moving toward the light, the one light, becoming the best of who we can possibly be. There's certainly no finger wagging, no judgment there. It's just suggestion and concepts and ideas and thoughts of what you might want to do.
Does the interlife vary with the different religious philosophies of the different clientele that you have?
No, not at all. And that's what's so extraordinary. It doesn't differ that way, but it does differ occasionally from an experience that I've not had before. So someone came in a few months ago who, instead of going to what I would consider the normal interlife, I think they went to a different planet. Although they didn't feel it, they felt that they were still in the interlife. They were in liquid and in humanoid form, and they emerged from the liquid as part of a group to develop a new sort of energy. And when that job was done, instead of dying, they became at one again with the liquid. That was a whole different experience I'd never had before with a client. But it made perfect sense to him when he came out of hypnosis. He got the message that community is everything.
How much of the information that is brought back from a hypnosis session is metaphor compared to actuality?
Most of it is very relevant to the life people are living today. Mm-hmm. So they may say something like, for instance, if they have been in 2, 3, or 3 past lives, and the wisdom they bring from those past lives is all about relationships, or all about family, or all about humility, it resonates really strongly with them in this current life. When they go to the interlife, mm-hmm. and they are in front of the council, and they have some questions to ask about life purpose, or are they on the right path, it's very relevant, and it makes so much sense to them. And sometimes they weep with joy, just openly weep. Wow. It's sort of like they overflow with joy. It's quite amazing.
Has there ever been a time when you've taken somebody into a past life scenario that the information that they have supplied during the hypnosis session has just totally... Are you kicking that poor cat?
No, she... Let me go out to the floor. Fiona, out you go. Come on.
I couldn't help that. I don't know what I would have said. I don't know what I would have done if you said, yes, I am.
She normally is sleeping at this time.
Ah, I see. So you're keeping her up beyond her...
Keeping her up beyond her, yes. As you know, she needs 23 hours of beauty sleep every day.
Of course. Of course. Has there ever been anything that has totally shocked you when doing hypnosis on a person?
Yes, I've had a few shocks when people have connected with a part of themselves that they didn't know they had, or I didn't know they had. When they had past lives that was so relevant, so strongly relevant to an issue that they were facing. I had a young man who wanted to open a dojo for inner city kids. And when I asked him, I thought that was a lovely thing to do. When I asked him if he was working with the Boys and Girls Club, or was he working with, an organization, he said, no, I don't need anybody. I can do it myself. And in the 3 past lives he went into, every time he led a group, whether it be a gang or whether it was an Air Force squadron, and I can't remember what the other group was, they all died under his watch. Ooh. And he came out of it so shaken. And his words were, I guess I do need help. I can't do it alone. So I said, if that's what it seems to you, that's what it is. Yeah, that was profound. That was huge.
I think when you and I have talked in the past, you've also told me that when you bring people into their past lives, it just doesn't have to be on this planet. It can be
not at all.
Yeah.
Or in their own language.
Really?
Yeah, they can speak another language that they don't know in this one, in this current life. They occasionally break into an ancient language or another language that is current, but but I don't speak it, and they don't speak it in this country. So in this time,
right.
So I have to ask them to speak English, otherwise I can't help them.
How do you know? How do you know if they're telling the truth or if they're just, in a fantasy mode?
Well, I don't know that you could speak Hindi if you never ever spoke it.
Yeah, all right. That one.
Or Japanese if you've never experienced it, or Croatian if you've never experienced it. I mean, I don't see how that could be.
But how about the people who speak English? You know, and has anybody ever tried to pull the wool over your eyes?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They've tried. They've come in and they said, I know that I've been Cleopatra in a previous lifetime.
Oh, boy.
And I say, oh, that's nice. Well, I want to explore it more. So when she was exploring it more, she became very dramatic.
Ah.
But I know a little bit about history, so I could ask some questions.
Right.
And it was obviously not true. I asked her, you know, if she'd ever been married to anybody apart from Caesar or Mark Antony, and she said, "Oh, no, these are my loves." And of course, anybody who knows Egyptian history knows that, in fact, she was married to her brother. She was a busy woman, was Cleopatra.
She was also a very naughty woman.
Yes,
Imagine that, hanging around
very
with your
clever,
brother.
though.
Ooh.
Yeah. And but what I did with her was, when she finished that life,
Mm-hmm.
as acting as it was, I deepened her in hypnosis and took her into a time, because she told me she had a fear of fire. So I asked with great respect and humility if it's okay for the soul to take us into a lifetime where we could release that fear of fire. So she became a person on a pioneer wagon train, and she was a woman, and in one of the wagons, and they were attacked one night, and the wagons were set fire to, and she could hear the horses scream.
Oh, no.
And she died in the fire. And she certainly wasn't making that one up. And when she came out, she could see the difference. She could feel the difference. She knew it was different.
How many different levels can you actually bring a person down to when you're doing hypnosis?
They can. I can encourage them, but I can't force anybody into any level of depth of hypnosis. But you can go deep enough. For instance, when I have a teenager coming in for anger issues,
Mm-hmm.
or people coming in who think they can't focus, I can show them how they can manage their body in such a way with the power of hypnosis. They can freeze their hand. They can numb their hand so much that I can pinch it with my nails and leave a mark, and they don't feel a thing. They can watch me do it, but they don't feel a thing.
Wow.
So that's pretty deep hypnosis. And I can also train people to take themselves into deep hypnosis so that they can go to a dentist and not feel anything. They don't like the anesthetic.
You also have a very active YouTube channel. Tell us about that.
Yes, I've had so many questions over the years that I decided to start a little series called Ask Georgina.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everything from what can I expect in a hypnosis session, or what is past life session, to I'm a medical intern, and is it okay if I date the doctor? So there's some romantic stuff as well as practical stuff. So it's fun. I get a lot of response back on it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I put out about one a month.
Right.
All different questions, everything from the basics to people email me in and say, you know, can you talk a little bit about what do I expect in a hypnosis session? What will happen to me? Or how long does it take? Or how can I find my soulmate? I'll answer it on YouTube. So there are lots and lots of YouTube's videos there, plus any that I've done with you and other people. So
right.
Lots of information, including the CBC Past Life Regression series. That's also on my channel on YouTube.
And of course, Exonation, if you'd like to watch Dr. Georgina Cannon's YouTube channel, it's www.youtube.com/Dr. Georgina Cannon. So basically, you are now the new Dear Abby of the hypnosis world.
Of hypnosis, yes. Or regression work. Or relationships. It's really funny what people ask me. You know, I had one young man who came in and said, you know, my girlfriend's nagging me, and I don't know, I can't seem to please her. I give her most of my salary.
Yeah.
What does she want? And I said, well, she would probably wants you, is what she wants. She wants you to be there. She wants some romance time. She wants some loving time. She wants some quiet time. She wants to be with you. She wants to know what you're thinking and feeling. Oh, that. And I said, yes. I said, yes, that. I think we have work to do.
Oh, that. Oh, my gosh.
Yes. So, yeah. It's quite.
So tell me, what's it feel like to be the Dear Abby of the hypnosis world, or not even hypnosis, because you're fielding all these different questions.
I'm doing a lot of coaching and counseling, particularly on Skype these days, worldwide. I get people from all over, Australia and Israel and England and LA, New York. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of coaching. I think what happens when you get older, you get wiser, but also, and more common sense. But also, I'm still always learning. I'm always taking, psychology, therapy courses, coaching and stuff. What does it feel like? It feels responsible. It feels humbling, and it feels extraordinary when you ask the question that enables the person to get the answer. Because it's the questions that I ask that enable them to go, aha, now I understand. Right? Most of the time, we don't know the questions to ask.
Georgina, stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exonation, Dr. Georgina Cannon is our guest, www.georginacannon.com. And if you'd like to watch her YouTubes, they're youtube.com/Dr. Georgina Cannon. And we'll be back on the other side of the short break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. If you enjoy reading a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love From Out of the Woodwork by William S. Peckham. Sean Kennedy, a Toronto contractor, buys derelict houses, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, a century house in ruins, and starts the renovation, the house fights back. He is visited by ghosts of owners past. His visions are triggered by touching an oak mantle, reading a faded letter, opening an old locket, or opening a brand new casket in the basement. These visions will take you on a trip across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Toronto to Kingston. From Out of the Woodwork is now available in paperback and on your favorite electronic reader. To order your copy of From Out of the Woodwork, go to www.williamspeckham.com. That's www.williamspeckham.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Dr. Georgina Cannon is our special guest. GeorginaCannon.com is her website. And Georgina, it's always great having you with us. What are your final thoughts for the X Zone Nation tonight?
I just long for the day when everyone realizes that they are so much more than they seem. That with kindness and with focus on really celebrating you, yourself, your soul, your generosity, your kindness, your smarts, that the world will be a different place. We just have to celebrate ourselves and each other and just celebrate the fact that we are more than we seem. That's what I would like people to understand about themselves.
You also have a podcast series, I understand.
Yes, I haven't posted for a couple of months. I've been a little busy writing a book, but yes, I do have a podcast series and all different things on it. People just tune in. And again, anything you want to know, anything your listeners want to know, I'm happy to either respond online or in a podcast or YouTube.
You shouldn't say that to my listening audience, Georgina.
No? Okay.
You haven't realized yet over all the years we've been friends, like what you're doing there, my dear, is you're throwing gas on a burning fire.
Oh dear.
I had this lady on the other night who says that she does psychic healing and psychic surgery in another dimension with the extraterrestrials. Then I had a gentleman on the other night who told me that he is part of a galactic military outfit and he is a gunner on a star battleship that is kept on the other side of Pluto so that the Earth telescopes will not detect it. And the ship has over 500,000 souls on board, and he actually has a daughter on the other side of the Pleiades who's 4 years old.
And you said, "Oh, that's nice."
I chose my words very, very quietly, and as long as there's no malice.
No, and who knows? They
Exactly. But when I get someone coming on who I know is doing it just for the attention because they have a donation button on their website, and they start telling me that. What was it on that one? Oh, that angels are the cosmic demons, and anything that everyone else would look at as positive was negative.
Oh,
that's what ticks me off, and that's
sad.
Yeah.
That's just sad.
So I'm gonna send her an email and have her contact you. I wouldn't do that to you. You know me better than that. But Georgina, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's always a great pleasure. I cherish your friendship. I cherish and I adore the work that you do.
Well, thank you.
Because I know for a fact you do a lot of work behind the scenes helping a lot of people.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
You take care of yourself, and Laura left a message for me to give to you.
Oh, a big hug.
And love you, Georgina.
Okay, God bless.
Take care, Georgina. X Zone Nation, the one and only Dr. Georgina Cannon, a great lady and a good friend of the X Zone. Her website is GeorginaCannon.com. And don't forget, check her out on YouTube. YouTube.com/Dr. Georgina Cannon. Now, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And as you know, X Zone Nation, this is truly a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. So we'll do some more hearing on the other side of this news break. Don't go away.